Hello, how are you? Today I want to tell you about a food that you can add to your morning drink, your smoothie, your coffee with milk, even just your milk or your tea, which can really help if you feel very sleepy in the morning, crave sweets throughout the day, or notice that you're not losing as much weight as you should. In fact, it's a delicious food that people aren't used to eating, but it's super aromatic. I'm sure you're going to love it. Stick around until the end because you won't want to miss this. Before we start, I want to ask you what you usually drink in the morning. Is it coffee with milk, a smoothie, or just black coffee? Is it tea, juice? Tell me. Let me know what's the drink you can't go without at the start of your morning. I'd love to see your comment. And remember to go ahead and like the video. That's really important to me. It shows YouTube that you support the channel and trust my content. And if you know someone who needs help with this, share this video. Let's work together to expand this chain of kindness, because that's what I want here with the channel. After we eat, especially foods rich in carbohydrates, our body always has an increase in glucose, right? That's normal. The problem is when we have an excess of glucose, of simple carbohydrates there, and an inflammatory response, more oxidation after that meal. This more unbalanced environment impairs the action of insulin and is also related to the amount and quality of the carbohydrate you consumed. If in your first meal of the day you eat white bread, sweets, jam, compote, hazelnut spread, chocolate cake, cookies, a lot of honey, a lot of banana, a lot of carbs at this time, you may end up creating an imbalance in this sense. And this way you might start having more issues with glucose spikes and insulin spikes. So what happens then? Insulin causes your blood sugar to drop very quickly, and you'll end up feeling hungry, tired, sluggish, and craving something sweet or high in carbohydrates again right at the start of the day. This can even send a more dysregulated signal to your body, making you spend the whole day craving sweets and wanting to eat more carbohydrates. And that's not good for our health. There is a food you can add at this moment that can help you in a very interesting way, which is clove. Clove is not just a spice, even though it is an aromatic, delicious, and very fragrant spice. It is one of the most concentrated sources of eugenol that exists. Eugenol is a compound that has already been well studied for its strong antioxidant action, its modulation of inflammatory processes, and its indirect influence on metabolic response. In other words, the body is able to optimize certain processes when it comes into greater contact with eugenol. The thing is, most people try to use clove. I'll even give you some ideas later on how to do it better. For example, like this. I'm going to put it in my coffee, my tea, I'll just throw a whole clove in there so we can extract these compounds. Clove is hard, and it's kind of like cinnamon, right? It's a tougher spice. So to get more of its benefits, you'll need to grind it. For example, you can add it to a smoothie, blending everything together before drinking it. You can also grind it and use it much like a tea, either before making your coffee or simply on its own. Another option is to prepare clove tea and enjoy it alongside another tea you typically drink in the morning. This way, by breaking that tougher shell, you can access more of these bioactive compounds and get better results when it comes to optimizing the use of clove itself. Clove also plays a very interesting role when it comes to helping control low-grade chronic inflammation. We know nowadays that this chronic inflammation is very prevalent and is often related to insulin resistance, difficulty losing weight, and that chronic fatigue that many people feel, as well as many aches and pains. And eugenol acts by modulating inflammatory pathways, which modulates our inflammatory environment. And when the inflammatory environment improves, the body responds better, including even the weight loss process itself. In addition, clove plays a very important role in the digestive process. It stimulates digestive enzymes, improves the breakdown of certain foods, their digestion itself, and reduces intestinal fermentation. And this makes a difference because when you digest and poorly absorb, things become disorganized, glucose can spike more chaotically, and the body reacts worse. Furthermore, when you are consuming food with a deregulated, more inflamed intestine, the absorption of these nutrients tends to be lower, impaired. In addition, there's also an interesting point that it can help the liver in a complementary way. And for those who have insulin resistance, there's an issue where the liver can produce excess glucose, even when we're not eating. And eugenol helps signal to the body that it doesn't need this extra production at that moment, helping to keep levels stable throughout the day. So it can help you in a complementary way with hepatic steatosis, the accumulation of fat in the liver, right? Besides that, as I mentioned, there's also the issue of its impact on weight, right? Obviously, clove alone won't make you lose weight, but it can facilitate the process or improve insulin response, reducing inflammation and precisely stabilizing that metabolic issue I mentioned. This creates a more favorable environment for weight loss, but it's not a free pass for you to eat whatever you want. There's no point in saying, I had clove in my morning drink. And then, for the rest of the day, eating a bunch of ultra-processed foods, fast food, fried snacks, too many sweets, That's not how this works. It can help you as a complement. I thought of suggesting this idea of adding it to your morning smoothie because that would be the most intuitive way for us to get all the benefits of clove. You could use 2 cloves in your smoothie where you would use skim milk or a plant-based milk with chia or flaxseed or oats or psyllium, right? With some fiber, a fruit of your choice, and maybe even some whey protein or not, depending on your needs. Adding the clove there is very intuitive because you're going to blend everything and it's easier for you to consume it. But obviously, you could also consume the clove, as I mentioned, in your other morning drinks. To make sure you're able to extract more of these active compounds, as I mentioned, you can either crush the clove in a mortar or blend it together with the coffee. If you grind your coffee in those grinders, you can add the clove in there to grind it together and brew it with the coffee. It tastes delicious. In fact, you can use this same coffee to make your coffee with milk or any coffee-based drinks. Now, if you don't drink coffee, for example, if you have hot chocolate made with good quality cocoa, the ideal is to also crush the clove in a mortar, put it in your kettle or mug, and then add the cocoa and very hot milk to make this infusion. Of course, you're not going to drink that clove that's left at the bottom afterwards. You can wait for it to settle and then sip it slowly. It makes for a very aromatic hot chocolate thanks to the cocoa and the freshly ground clove, and you're able to extract more of the active compounds. So, this can be a really interesting option for your morning drinks. Tell me down below then, which of these drinks are you excited to try? I'd love to see your comment. Is there any spice you already add to your morning drink? If so, write and tell me which one it is. I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video, that really helps me out, and share it with someone who'll enjoy it, someone who needs it. Let's grow this chain of kindness because that's what I want here on the channel. See you next time. Bye.